Hello students, welcome to our third quarter week 4 science lesson, and I'm your grade 10 science teacher, Mrs. Marizoy Itis Cabillas. Our first lesson for today is about evidences and theories of evolution. Let us first define what is evolution. So evolution is a gradual change in population's genetic and physical traits. This can only be observed after a long period of time. Is also defined in biology as the change in the characteristics of a species over several generations and relies on the process of natural selection, which means that natural selection is the process through which population of living organisms adapt and change, which individual in a species show variation in physical characteristics, and this variation is because of differences in their genes. In the year 1909 to 1882, Charles Darwin proposed the theory of evolution. And theory of evolution is a short form of theory of natural selection. Natural selection, which most of those organisms suited to their environment are the ones that reproduce most successfully and are most likely to pass their traits to the next generation. As time goes by, scientists discover many things that lead them to further believe in the process of evolution through the help of some evidences. And those are fossil records, comparative anatomy, embryonic development, and genetic information. Perhaps the most common evidence is the fossil record. Fossils are remnants or remains of ancient organisms. They give us a picture of how organisms have changed over time. And fossils provide information about what species existed at particular times of Earth history. Using the geological time scale, scientists have estimated that the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old and divided into a series of units based on the order in which different groups of rocks and fossils were formed, namely eon, era, period, and epochs. Era is the largest division of geologic time scale. It's namely Precambrian, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, Cenozoic, and each era is further divided into period. The second evidence is the comparative anatomy. Comparative anatomy is the study of the body structures of animals to know how they have evolved from the likes of their common ancestors for the purpose of adapting to their environment. And comparative anatomy poses two main ideas or concepts. Those are homologous structure and the analogous structure. Let us first talk about the homologous structures. Homologous features if two or more species share a unique physical features, such as complex bone structure or a body plan that they may all have inherited this feature from a common ancestor. And one of the example of homologous feature, the four limbs of human, horse, whale, turtle, frog, and the bird. They look pretty different on the outside. However, if you look the bone structure of the four limbs, you find that the pattern of bones is very similar across species, and sometimes organisms have structures that are homologous. Analogous features means that the structures are in organisms without shared ancestry. This structure evolved independently to serve the same purpose. Example of analogous structure is the wings of insects, birds, and bats, which they use for flying. Another evidence of evolution is the study of developing organism or the embryonic development. So species that are closely related exhibit similar embryonic development. Even when in the adult stage, the organism are quite different. For example, is the embryo of fish, salamander, tortoise, chicken, and human. This leads to observation that the more similar the embryos are, the more they are related with each other. Humans are similar during the first stage of their embryonic development, and have several homologous structures that are not present when the organisms are adults. Another evidence of evolution is genetic information, which provided by biochemical analysis and amino acid sequence of organisms' DNA. The greater the similarity of amino acid sequence, the closer the relationship of organisms, which are similar in structure and also process similarity at biochemical level could probably have a common ancestor. Organisms inhabiting the earth have changed over time. Their structure, traits, and abilities allow them to adapt and survive in their environment. Always remember that evolution through natural selection can result to biodiversity. And that is our next lesson, biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Diversity is the term that describes how diverse living things are in a specific area organism, such as plants and animals, small or big. They are part of biodiversity and are economically and ecologically valuable. Biodiversity is important because it sustains the balanced flow of organisms in an ecosystem. Biodiversity is important because it contributes to environmental stability, where stability of an ecosystem can be described as the resilience to withstand changes that may occur in the environment. These are important because their products are source of food, medicine, clothing, shelter, and energy. Biodiversity is important because they maintain the balance in the ecosystem by performing their specific roles. Their specific roles are some maintain the quality of bodies of water, some prevent soil erosion and flood cycle minerals in the soil and absorb pollutants, and others fed on insect and pests which control the population of organisms in a certain environment. That's all for today, students. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy and learn a lot from our lesson for today. Keep safe and God bless us all.